Hello, everybody. Nice to talk with you again. This week, I wanted to share one of my favorite readings from The Imitation of Christ. It's on solitude and silence, and it has been particular use to me and may be of particular use to you in making better use of this second lockdown and getting yourself on a better footing for 2021. Um, in this weird year. Anyways, this is chapter 20 in The Imitation of Christ. Seek a proper time to be at leisure with yourself, and think often of God's kindness. Leave curiosity alone. Read subjects that touch the heart rather than those that pass the time. If you will avoid needless talk and idle visits and not listen for the latest gossip, you will find plenty of suitable time for good meditations. The greatest saints guarded their time alone and chose to serve God in solitude. Someone has said, "As often as I went out among men, I returned less of a man." We often experience this when we have spent a long time in idle chatter. It is easier to be completely silent than to not be long-winded. It is easier to stay at home than to be properly on guard outside the monastery. A person whose goal is the inward spiritual life must cast his lot with Jesus and not follow the crowd. No one is secure except the person who freely keeps to himself. No one speaks securely except the person who willingly keeps silent. No one leads securely except the person who freely serves. No one commands securely except the person who thoroughly obeys. No one knows secure joy except the person who holds a good conscience in his heart. The security of the saints always sprang from holding God in deep awe and profound reverence. And just because their great virtues and grace were so evident did not mean that they no longer had to be diligent and humble. The assurance of lesser people springs from pride and presumption. In the end, it becomes self-deception. Whether you are a good monk or a devout hermit, never promise yourself security in this life. Often those people whom others hold in the highest esteem have been placed in serious danger by their own overconfidence. So it is better for many people that they not be entirely free from temptation. Rather, they should be attacked by it often, lest they become overconfident or puffed with pride or attracted to material comforts instead of to God. Oh, if we never sought after fleeting joys or never busied ourselves chasing after possessions and status, what a good conscience we would keep. Oh, if we would get rid of all empty cares and think only on wholesome and divine things and place all our hope in God, what great peace and rest we would have. No one is worthy of heavenly comfort unless he has spent great effort training himself in true sorrow for his own failings and in deep compassion for others. If you wish to feel this in your heart, go into your room and shut out the noise of the world. As it is written, in the privacy of your room, feel sorrow and compassion deeply. In your room, you will find what you often let slip outside. A room continually used grows sweet. Ill kept, it breeds boredom. If you stay in your room and keep it well when you first turn to God, then later on it will become a beloved friend and a dear comfort. In silence and peace, a devout soul makes progress and learns the secrets of the Scriptures. Only in silence and peace does a devout soul find floods of tears in which it may wash and cleanse itself each night. The further the soul is from the noise of the world, the closer it may be to its Creator, for God, with his holy angels, will draw close to a person who seeks solitude and silence. It is better to remain alone and to care for your soul than to neglect yourself and work miracles. It is praiseworthy for a person under monastic vows to stay in his monastery, to avoid being seen, and to keep to himself. Why wish to see what you cannot have? The world passes away, and so does the craving for what it has to offer. The desire to see, to hear, to smell, to taste, and to touch all those things that you do without will lead you astray. Then, after you indulge your desires, what will you carry back to the monastery but a heavy conscience and a divided heart? A happy outing often brings a sad return, and a happy evening makes an unhappy morning. All such joys enter delightfully in just this way, but in the end they bite and destroy. What can you see elsewhere that you cannot see here? Look at the sky and earth and all the elements, for from these all things are made. What can you see anywhere under the sun that can endure for long? Perhaps you think to satisfy yourself? Forget it. You cannot. If you could see all things at once right in front of your eyes, what would it all be but an empty vision? Lift your eyes to God on high and pray for what you have done and for what you have failed to do. Leave vain things to vain people and give your attention to those things that God asks of you. Go into your room, shut your door, and call upon Jesus, your beloved. Stay with him in the privacy of your own room, for you will not find such peace anywhere else. If you had not gone out simply to amuse yourself, or if you had not listened so readily to this or that piece of gossip, you would have continued on in true peace better than you have. If you like to do such things, then afterwards you have to put up with a restless heart. Anyways, I hope that is helpful, and we will see you on Saturday. Take care of yourselves.